Take the shirt you washed this week, walk into your bedroom, close the blinds, and hold it under a UV flashlight. It glows a bright, synthetic blue-white. That glow isn't clean fabric reflecting light. That glow is a synthetic chemical compound called an optical brightener, engineered to bond permanently into those cotton fibers so it can never wash out. It is an optical illusion designed to trick your brain into thinking your clothes are cleaner than they are. And it is floating around in 7 of the most popular laundry detergents sitting on Australian supermarket shelves right now. Even worse, it is hiding inside the exact bottles most Aussie parents switch to when they are trying to be careful with their kids' sensitive skin. We are cracking open the actual chemical reality behind the laundry aisle, taking you through 10 major brands you find at Woolworths, Coles, and Chemist Warehouse. You will find out which 7 household staples are complete rubbish that you need to skip entirely. We will uncover 3 brands that are genuinely clean, and I will show you exactly how to audit any bottle yourself in under 30 seconds. Stick around because the absolute worst offender on this list is a brand you have been conditioned to trust from the moment you brought your first baby home from the hospital. Before we name a single brand, we need to talk about how modern laundry detergent is actually made, because the industry has pulled off a massive magic trick under our noses. Go back a few decades and laundry soap was just made from fats and oils that lifted dirt and rinsed away safely. Today, the liquids in those big plastic jugs are not soap at all. They are highly engineered chemical cocktails made from synthetic surfactants, which are petroleum-derived wetting agents that force water to penetrate fabric. The problem is that manufacturing these synthetic surfactants creates an unwanted byproduct called 1,4-dioxane. The Australian Industrial Chemicals Introduction Scheme classifies 1,4-dioxane as a suspected human carcinogen that can cause liver and kidney damage over long-term exposure. No corporate executive adds this stuff to the vat on purpose, but it forms automatically during a cheap chemical process called ethoxylation, which companies use to make harsh cleaning chemicals milder on your clothes. Because 1,4-dioxane is an accidental manufacturing byproduct and not an added ingredient, consumer protection laws mean it will never appear on any ingredient label. It is a ghost in the formula. The only way to spot its footprint is to look for the letters ETH hidden in the middle of the chemical names on the back of the bottle. Words like sodium laureth sulfate or alcohol ethoxylate. That suffix is the smoking gun of ethoxylation. Think of it like buying a heavily processed car. You do not see the toxic smog emitted by the factory printed on the window sticker, but you know it happened because the car exists. The industry uses these ethoxylated compounds because they are dirt cheap and they make the liquid foam up beautifully, giving you the satisfying visual of a bubbly wash cycle while leaving chemical residues behind. Then comes the second layer of the trick, fragrance and appearance. The human brain is incredibly easy to manipulate. If a shirt smells like a synthetic mountain breeze and looks blindingly white, your brain instantly ticks a box that says clean, and you completely stop questioning what is actually touching your skin. To achieve that white illusion without doing any extra cleaning, chemical companies load formulas with those UV-reactive fluorescent whitening agents. They absorb invisible ultraviolet light from the sun and re-emit it as blue light, masking the natural yellowing of aging fabric. They are essentially a microscopic coat of plastic paint that stays on your clothes forever. Washing your clothes in these conventional detergents is not like washing your dishes with dish liquid or washing your hands with soap. When you rinse a dinner plate, the soap goes down the drain and you eat off clean ceramic. Laundry detergent is specifically formulated to leave things behind in the weave of the fabric so that the artificial scent and the fake optical whiteness persist for weeks. You are then wearing that chemical residue against your skin for 24 hours a day, breathing it in while you sleep, and absorbing it through your pores when you sweat. The regulatory framework governing these chemicals in Australia has not had a meaningful, safety-first overhaul in decades, leaving a massive legal loophole for consumer goods conglomerates to dump cheap industrial formulations into our homes while hiding behind pretty pictures of eucalyptus leaves and smiling babies. We are going to close that loophole ourselves right now. Number 7. Radiant. Most people walking down the cleaning aisle at Woolworths reach for Radiant because the brand promise is stamped right on the front of the bottle in bold letters. An extra life for your clothes. They market themselves as the advanced, technical solution to fading garments, promising to keep your blacks black and your whites white. It feels like a high-performance formula that treats your wardrobe like an investment, and that premium positioning lets them charge a pretty penny at the checkout. The reality is that Radiant is not performing some miracle of fabric restoration. It is just using a massive dose of optical brighteners to create a synthetic illusion of brightness under daylight. Independent product evaluation by organizations like Choice regularly examines how laundry detergents stack up on raw soil removal, and while Radiant removes everyday stains, it relies heavily on those fluorescent compounds that lock permanently into the fabric fibers. You are paying a premium price per wash, often around 60 to 70 cents a load when it is not on a half-price special, for a chemical coat of paint that masks fading rather than truly cleaning the cloth. A look at consumer feedback reveals a consistent trail of complaints from everyday Aussies who report mysterious skin rashes and stubborn itchiness that completely disappears the moment they switch away from this specific formula. The verdict punchline: Radiant is basically an expensive blue highlighter for your laundry, coloring over the dirt while leaving a permanent chemical film against your skin dot. Number 6. Fab Intense Fragrance. Fab isn't primarily selling you a cleaning product, Fab is selling you an intense emotional scent memory. They name their variants things like frangipani or eucalyptus or lavender, leaning hard into classic Australian flora to make you feel like your laundry has been kissed by the Aussie bush. Procter & Gamble and other chemical conglomerates built this exact recognition deliberately because the moment a smell becomes associated with clean laundry in your brain, you stop reading the back label. The smell answered the question for you, so why look any further? That is exactly the systemic trick. Before we look at the formula, think about how laundry detergent is fundamentally different from almost any other cleaning product in your house. Your dish soap rinses off your plates, your hand wash rinses down the sink, and your kitchen spray gets wiped away with a paper towel. Laundry detergent does the opposite. Whatever chemical compounds survive the rinse cycle stay locked inside the woven fibers of your clothes. You then wear those clothes for hours against your skin, absorbing whatever residues remain. Independent laboratory investigations into synthetic fragrance blends have routinely identified phthalates hidden inside the formula under the generic word perfume. Phthalates are notorious endocrine disruptors that mimic hormones in the body, and while the European Union has implemented strict bans on them in cosmetics, Australian regulations still allow them to hide behind that single, legally protected word on the ingredient list. Fab's signature perfume is a black box of unlisted compounds sitting directly on top of ethoxylated surfactants and optical brighteners. The scent was specifically engineered to replace the need to read the label, and it has worked on millions of Aussie households for generations. The verdict punchline: Fab is essentially perfume-scented liquid plastic masquerading as a fresh summer breeze. Number 5. Cold Power. This is the heavy hitter, the premium choice people grab when they want serious industrial-strength performance in cold water. Cold Power markets itself heavily around the idea of Australian environmental efficiency, telling you that by washing in cold water, you are saving energy and protecting the planet. It is brilliant marketing because it frames buying their product as a responsible, eco-conscious choice. On raw performance, it does remove stains effectively because it is packed with aggressive enzymes and heavy surfactants. But the real question is not what it removes from your clothes, it is what it leaves behind after the rinse cycle is done. Cold Power contains benzisothiazolinone, a harsh preservative that peer-reviewed toxicological research has directly linked to severe contact dermatitis and skin sensitization. It also utilizes quaternary ammonium compounds, commonly known as quats, to help condition the fabric during the wash. A landmark multi-university study published in Environmental Science and Technology linked quats to reproductive toxicity, respiratory damage, and the rise of antimicrobial resistance in home environments. These compounds do not just evaporate, they stay embedded in the fabric of your bedsheets and your underwear. Someone paying a premium for Cold Power because they think a high-performance cold water wash is the safest and most advanced option for their home is paying for an assumption that the chemistry simply does not support. It removes the visible mud from your footy shorts while depositing persistent, skin-sensitizing preservatives directly into the fibers. The verdict punchline: Cold Power is an industrial chemical sledgehammer dressed up as an eco-friendly energy saver. Quick pause here. If this is already making you look at your laundry cabinet with a bit of suspicion, hit that like button and subscribe. It is a tiny click for you, but it helps this kind of independent journalism bypass the massive corporate marketing budgets and reach the people who actually need to see it. It only gets rougher from here. Number 4. Omo Sensitive. Now we are entering a completely different territory, and you need to pay very close attention because these next two brands are designed specifically to catch the careful shopper. This is the bottle the label reader reaches for, the parent who has already walked away from intense fragrances and harsh industrial powders. Pick up Omo Sensitive at Coles or Woolies and read the front of the packaging. Fragrance-free, dermatologically tested, and gentle on skin. Every single word is meticulously engineered to send a specific message to a vulnerable consumer. You can relax now, you did the work, you made the safe choice, and you can stop reading. The back of the bottle tells a completely contradictory story. Despite the gentle marketing, Omo Sensitive contains sodium lauryl sulfate and lauryl 7, which are heavily ethoxylated surfactants. As we established, the ethoxylation production pathway is the exact process that generates 1,4-dioxane as a carcinogenic manufacturing byproduct. Furthermore, an audit of the formal ingredient disclosure shows that it still contains optical brighteners and isothiazolinone preservatives to extend its shelf life. A product built entirely on a sensitive skin safety promise contains the exact chemical compounds that independent dermatological groups flag as primary triggers for childhood eczema and skin irritation. The careful shopper read the front label, paid extra, switched brands, and did everything right. But the brand they trusted most is the one that completely failed to earn that trust. The verdict punchline: Omo Sensitive is just the standard industrial chemical cocktail wearing a laboratory coat and a fake ID dot. Number 3. Earth Choice. I want to be completely upfront here because this one requires a lot of care. This is the absolute golden child of the Australian clean living community, sitting on the shelves of every major supermarket for years. If you have spent any time in natural parenting groups or wellness spaces across Australia, you have heard this name recommended by people whose judgment you trust. That trust has a genuine history. The brand was built on the promise of affordable, plant-based, planet-friendly cleaning. But corporate incentives have a habit of rewriting formulas behind closed doors. An ingredient audit of Earth Choice laundry liquid reveals that while they avoid synthetic dyes and some of the harshest optical brighteners, the formula relies heavily on sodium lauryl sulfate as its primary cleaning agent. That means the ethoxylation pathway is wide open, using ethylene oxide, one of the most potent industrial carcinogens in modern chemistry, and leaving the door completely open for 1,4-dioxane contamination. Independent researchers reviewing mass-market eco-detergents have pointed out that cumulative daily exposure across multiple household products is what actually matters, not looking at one bottle in isolation. Beyond the dioxane risk, mass-market green brands frequently use synthetic preservatives like methyl isothiazolinone to prevent bacteria from growing in their plant-based formulas, the exact compound restricted by European safety bodies for brief rinse-off skin contact, let alone permanent fabric bonding. Earth Choice is certainly better than conventional industrial powders, but there is a massive gap between a brand name built on environmental purity and the specific chemical surfactants flowing through the liquid. The verdict punchline: Earth Choice is a conventional chemical formula doing a very convincing job of playing dress-up in a green cardboard box dot. Number 2. Omo Original. Omo is the undisputed single best-selling laundry detergent in Australia. It is the reference point around which the entire supermarket aisle is organised, and it has won consumer awards for consecutive years as a trusted household staple. It is the absolute default for the average Aussie home. Its formula is a masterclass in aggressive old-school chemical engineering. It contains a heavy load of sodium lauryl sulfate and lauryl 7, confirming the 1,4-dioxane manufacturing pathway is present across their entire mainstream line. It is also absolutely packed with disodium distyryl biphenyl disulfonate, the technical chemical name for their heavy-duty optical brightener. These synthetic fluorescent compounds are functional by design. They do not wash out because washing out would defeat their entire marketing purpose. They are engineered to absorb invisible UV light and re-emit it as a blinding blue-white glow, tricking your eyes into seeing cleanliness where there is actually just a layer of reflective plastic chemicals. If you washed your clothes in Omo today, that chemical layer is rubbing against your skin right now. The reason Omo is this high on the list is not because its chemistry is uniquely worse than the others, but because more Australian households use this bottle than almost everything else combined. The reach of these specific ingredients is wider here than anywhere else in the country, turning the default definition of clean into a national chemical experiment. The verdict punchline: Omo is a highly profitable optical illusion that trades real safety for a fake blinding shine dot. Number 1. Purity Sensitive Baby. This one is last for a deeply specific, infuriating reason. Every other brand on this list is something adults buy for themselves. This one is bought by terrified, exhausted parents for their vulnerable newborns. You typically encounter this brand for the first time when you are roaming the supermarket aisles late at night, completely overwhelmed by the responsibility of protecting a tiny human being who cannot communicate their discomfort. The marketing on Purity Sensitive is a masterclass in emotional manipulation, featuring soft pastel colors, drawings of tiny infants, and explicit claims of being perfect for babies' delicate skin. Here is what most of those parents never find out. Infant skin is not just a smaller version of adult skin. It is a structurally completely different biological barrier. The outermost protective layer, the stratum corneum, is significantly thinner at birth and continues to develop throughout the first year of life. Newborns also have a much higher ratio of skin surface area relative to their total body weight, meaning any chemical residue left in their clothing enters their bloodstream at a measurably higher dose per kilogram than it would for an adult. The biological vulnerability is completely real, but the formula inside the bottle is not built to match it. Independent chemical screening of mainstream baby detergents regularly flags the presence of ethoxylated surfactants and synthetic fragrances that carry an incredibly high risk of skin sensitization. Purity Sensitive utilizes the exact same cheap industrial surfactant base as mass-market detergents, hiding behind the lack of added dyes to claim a medical or safety profile it simply has not earned. The gap between who the marketing targets and what the chemistry delivers is why this is number one. It leverages parental anxiety to sell a cheap, ethoxylated formula under the guise of pediatric safety. The verdict punchline: Purity Sensitive is a corporate wolf in a flannel baby blanket, exploiting the most vulnerable skin in your house for the sake of the corporate bottom line. Right, here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. The switch from pulling apart corporate marketing tricks to finding actual solutions is the ultimate reward for staying tuned, because you absolutely do not have to settle for washing your clothes in synthetic optical illusions or carcinogenic manufacturing residues. There are companies that looked at the exact same relaxed Australian regulatory environment, looked at the same cheap chemical shortcuts, and chose to make a fundamentally different choice for your family's health and safety. These brands actually held up under rigorous scrutiny, proving that you can get pristine, stain-free clothes without turning your wardrobe into a walking toxic hazard zone. We are moving from the corporate greenwashing to the genuine innovators who have nothing to hide behind fake fragrances or deceptive optical brighteners. Best option number 3 on our list is EcoStore Ultra Sensitive. This is a brand that originally started across the ditch in New Zealand, but has become a total mainstream staple across Australia, sitting right there on the shelf at your local Woolworths, Coles, and Chemist Warehouse. That means you do not need to make a specialty trip to an expensive boutique health food store or wait days for an online delivery just to clean up your routine. EcoStore carries an entirely different level of formulation integrity compared to mass-market greenwashers that just put pictures of leaves on a plastic jug. They completely avoid the ethoxylation pathway across their entire sensitive range, which means they do not use sodium lauryl sulfate, Laureth 7, or any other cheap surfactant that leaves behind a hidden chemical footprint of 1,4-dioxane. Instead, they rely on plant-derived surfactants extracted from coconut and sugar that naturally lift grease and grime before rinsing completely out of the fabric weave, leaving absolutely zero microscopic film behind to rub against your skin. There are no optical brighteners, no synthetic fragrances, no petrochemical dyes, and no harsh isothiazolinone preservatives hiding anywhere in this bottle. When you pour the liquid out, it is completely clear and completely odorless, which might feel a bit strange at first if your brain has been conditioned by brands like Fab or Radiant to expect a massive chemical perfume bomb or a bright neon blue gel. The raw cleaning performance is exceptional because they rely on concentrated plant-based enzymes to dissolve tough organic stains naturally, rather than using synthetic chemicals to paint an optical layer over them. Price-wise, it sits around $8 to $9 Australian dollars for a standard 1-litre bottle, which works out to roughly 45 cents per single wash. That is slightly dearer than a budget supermarket home brand powder, but it is actually cheaper per load than the premium versions of Omo or Cold Power when they are not on a half-price special. You are paying for pure, traceable, dermatologically verified ingredients that protect your family's skin barrier, and that minimal price difference is completely justified the second you realize you are no longer coating your bedsheets in persistent hormone-disrupting contaminants. It is the absolute ideal gateway swap for any busy Australian household looking to make a practical, affordable change without altering their weekly shopping habits. Best option number 2 is Resparkle. This is an incredible, independent Australian brand that completely revolutionizes the entire concept of fabric care by tackling the single biggest lie in the mainstream cleaning industry: the giant plastic jug. Conventional liquid laundry detergents are made of up to 90% water, which means big chemical corporations are essentially charging you money to ship heavy plastic bottles of water across Australian highways before you dump them into your washing machine. Resparkle completely eliminates the water and the single-use plastic by providing you with a beautiful reusable glass soap dispenser and small, highly concentrated natural powder pouches that you mix with your own tap water at home, or concentrated powders that contain zero synthetic fillers. Their formulation is an absolute dream for the conscious consumer, carrying formal, independent certifications that guarantee a total absence of hidden industrial toxins. There are absolutely no optical brighteners, no ethoxylated compounds, no quaternary ammonium compounds, and no unlisted synthetic fragrances hiding behind trade secret laws. The entire ingredient list is derived from pure earth minerals and plant extracts that completely dissolve in both hot and cold water without leaving a single trace of crusty chemical film on your garments. When you wash a batch of towels in Resparkle, they actually feel like soft, breathable cotton again, rather than feeling like a stiff pane of glass coated in chemical fabric softeners and artificial blue brighteners. It is explicitly suited for anyone in your house suffering from severe eczema, psoriasis, or unexplained skin sensitivities, because there is literally nothing in the mineral-based formula capable of triggering an inflammatory skin reaction or compromising the skin barrier. Because it is a highly concentrated system where you are not paying for water weight, a tiny amount goes an incredibly long way, bringing your actual cost per use right down to around 35 cents a load. It is a brilliant, zero-waste, completely clean option that fits seamlessly into any modern front-loader or top-loader washing machine, proving to the big brands that true sustainability does not mean sacrificing a high-performance clean dot. Best option number 1 is the Dirt Company, simply known as Dirt Laundry Detergent. This is the absolute gold standard of Australian fabric care, holding a position of purity and performance that no mass-market supermarket conglomerate can even dream of approaching. Dirt is an independent, Australian-made powerhouse that focuses on extreme formulation transparency, local manufacturing, and closed-loop sustainability. They utilize a highly advanced, ultra-concentrated liquid formula packed inside a beautiful, returnable, refillable aluminium pump bottle, completely removing plastic waste from your laundry layout. Their chemistry is flawlessly clean, completely avoiding every single red flag compound on our avoid list. There are no 1,4-dioxane precursors, no optical brighteners, no quaternary ammonium compounds, no boric acid, and no harsh industrial preservatives. Instead, they use a sophisticated blend of organic, plant-based surfactants and 5 distinct natural enzymes that target stains at a molecular level, breaking down oils, mud, and proteins without damaging the structural integrity of your cotton, linen, or wool fibers. The sensory experience is incredible. Your clothes come out smelling genuinely clean, not like an artificial chemical factory or a synthetic alpine forest, but like fresh, breathable, unadulterated fabric. Now, let us look at the price honestly, because Dirt is positioned as a premium product. A starter pack costs more upfront than a cheap plastic supermarket jug, but because it is so heavily concentrated, you only use a tiny 4 milliliter pump per average load. When you calculate the math down to the actual cost per single wash, it works out to roughly 42 cents a load when you buy their bulk refill packs and return the empty pouches for recycling. Let that specific fact sink in for a second. The massive supermarket brands that are actively depositing synthetic fluorescent compounds and toxic manufacturing byproducts into your family's clothing are charging you more per single wash than an independent Australian company using some of the cleanest, most advanced plant-based chemistry on the planet. It is the ultimate option for anyone who refuses to compromise on safety, demands flawless stain-removing performance, and wants a beautiful, sustainable aesthetic on their laundry shelf. If you want to ensure you never fall victim to corporate marketing spin again, here are 5 concrete rules for auditing any laundry bottle at Woolworths or Coles in under 30 seconds. First, flip the container over and scan the ingredient declaration for the letters ETH right in the middle of any word. If you spot sodium lauryl sulfate or alcohol ethoxylate, put it back on the shelf immediately, because that is the definitive chemical footprint of the ethoxylation process that leaves behind carcinogenic 1,4-dioxane. Second, look for the technical terms optical brightener, fluorescent whitener, or disodium distyrylbiphenyl disulfonate. These are the synthetic compounds that permanently coat your clothes with a UV-reactive film to create a deceptive illusion of whiteness. Third, avoid any brand that uses the generic words perfume or fragrance without fully disclosing the individual components, because Australian consumer laws allow hundreds of toxic, endocrine-disrupting phthalates to hide completely unnamed behind that single word. Fourth, check for industrial preservatives ending in isothiazolinone, such as benzisothiazolinone, which are aggressive chemicals directly linked to severe allergic contact dermatitis that remain trapped in the fabric weave indefinitely. Fifth, look for green flags like formal independent certifications, such as EWG verified, made safe, or GECA, printed on the packaging, which prove an external auditor has actually checked the formulation rather than letting the brand grade its own homework. This is the checklist you need to screenshot before you next walk down that aisle. The entire mass-market supermarket cleaning industry is built on a very simple premise. If they can make your clothes smell like an intense artificial rainforest and glow like a neon sign under ambient light, you will assume they are pristine, and you will never ask what chemical residues are left behind in the weave. The one fundamental mindset shift you need to make to protect your home is to stop defining cleanliness by how intense a product smells or how bright it looks, and start defining it by what has actually been removed from the fabric. True cleanliness is the complete absence of dirt and the complete absence of synthetic chemical residue. Thank you so much for watching this investigation through to the end. If what you learned today completely changed how you look at that big plastic jug sitting in your laundry cabinet right now, please share this video with a mate or a family member who is still blindly buying the same supermarket bottles out of old habit. Drop a comment below and let me know, which of these 10 brands is sitting on your laundry shelf at home right now? If you want to see exactly how the same corporate giants are pulling off the exact same tricks with the dishwashing liquids you use to clean the plates your family eats off every single day, click on the video link on your screen right now. Keep your eyes open, read the back of the bottle, and I will catch you in the next investigation. Stay sharp.